This is Richard with Sewing Machine Tips and Tricks and Odessa Sewing Machine, and today I have a Singer Confidence that needs some repair done to it and needs to be serviced. So we're going to service it, clean it up, everything, make sure everything inside looks good, make sure it's clean, make sure it's lubricated, and then we're going to make some minor repairs. It doesn't look like it's anything major. I don't know for sure, I haven't been in it yet, but it doesn't look like anything major, but we'll go over that as we go through this, and then test it and make sure everything's good. All right, so with that being said, let's get on with it. Okay, so here it is, Singer Confidence. My customer is having a problem with it looping, and she wanted to get it serviced. So we are going to service it, and we're going to make some repairs. Just real quick, if I can get this to where you can see it. On the repair side, she said that it's looping, and something that I seen right away is this. I'll take the foot and stuff off, so hopefully y'all can see what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah. All right, so you can see some damage, right? Let me move this thread. You can see some damage to that needle plate. That will cause looping. That in itself will cause looping. When you get that damage, you'll also damage your needle. But this is probably a new needle. It'll also break your needle. So anyway, we will take care of this at some point, probably when I'm done servicing it. But for now, let's get it open. So here we go. So we will first take let's take the ends off of it first, because it'll make it easier. So I'll take this end off here. I need my pull that off, then we'll go ahead and pull this bottom off right here. Just got a single screw, just like the top. Just like that. And that'll come off. All right, now let's pull that plate off. Both of these were fairly loose. Has already been loosened at some point. All right, so let's talk about that again. You can see that damage, right? And so your thread gets caught in those holes, in that damage. Your thread gets caught in the damage, and that damage holds on to it and keeps the take-up lever from pulling it back up, which leaves thread down below. Okay, we're gonna pull these out, and we're gonna check this for damage. So there's some damage right here. Okay, so I'll have to clean that up. There's a little bit right here. I'll clean that up. Oh, well, this probably really needs a new bobbin case. Let's see. You see, I think you can see that. So you can see the light through there. Okay, that's where the needle. You can see that good now, where the needles hit it, and it causes problems on the back. And the thread goes here, and this grabs your thread. So I don't know if I have a new bobbin case or not. I'll have to look and see. But it should have one. If I've got one to put there, I will. Otherwise, I'll just try to clean it up and try to make it work. All right. Now that's interesting. Usually when you've got this, like this, right? The reason you'll have this is for a knife assembly to cut the thread. So they make it and they put this on it, they make it look like it has a knife, but there's nothing here. The knife would sit right here. So anyway, we're gonna keep going. All right, we'll get this off there, get it out of the way. Pull these screws out. And then we've got these two, get them pulled out. It doesn't feel right, something feels weird, but it is right. Kind of off to the side. Okay, now let's check for any other screws I need to take out. So there's this one here. Wherever that went, right there. There we go. Now, this one right here needs to come out, this long one. Right there. Or actually, no. On this machine, that doesn't need to come out. Some of it does. So this is fine, but this one does, because this holds this piece, which is not the main frame. So this one right here needs to come out. But that's on this machine. Some machines, the longer one needs to come out. Now, actually, I don't need to take it completely out. I just need to loosen it. See how that will move? Okay, so I've loosened it. See what we've got. All right, we're going to take the bottom off. Okay, so we're going to take, you can see right here, that goes directly into there. So this one and this one, this one and this one, we're going to have to take, probably have to take this one and this one out, as well as this one and this one. Okay, so this one has a lot of screws holding it up there. So we'll start with these two. Sometimes these are quite tight. This one's not. Okay. And more than likely, okay, so these two and these two screw into the frame. More than likely, this one and this one screws into the plastic, and then these two screw into the frame again. And that's just to help keep the plastic in line up top here, so that it doesn't look all messed up. And that's why there's so many screws. Right? So let's get those put away. And that's what I believe. That's how a lot of them are, but we'll see. Yep, that's a plastic screw. You can see the threads on it. It's made for plastic. Okay, so we get rid of those or put those away. And these two. There's that one. And that one. All right, and there's that, quick and easy. Now, we've got this piece here. This is just a little door cover that you can access the bottom of the hook area, the gear and stuff, to clean it up if you're not opening the whole machine up. But it needs to come out to take this apart, and I can't get it apart. So I got some pry bars like this. See if we can get that in there. There we go. Easy. These pry bars are awesome. They work great. If you need some, there is a link to them down in the description. But they work great. You can see there's some lint in here. We'll get it all out when we get this finished. Just finished opening. All right, so now we need to get this open, and this is not wanting to. There we go. Use my pry bar in here. It's coming. It's opening up. Kind of sharp, kind of hurts. Some of these things are hard to get open. And I can't. I'm not getting a real good picture on this for you. There we go. It pops pretty hard sometimes. You do have to be careful you don't break something. Some of these things, dang it, they are difficult to open. And this is one of them. Trying to get these open sometimes is a pain. Get these, there we go. These things make it much easier, much easier. All right, so we pretty much got all of that loosened. You can see up here it's loosened, and you can see down the bottom it's loosened, but we've still got something holding this. There we go. The bottom. Right there. I had that right there holding it. Okay. So, all right, this thing, gotta put that down. There we go. It's moving. Now we've got the top. All right, so now we've got to get this loose. Actually, it's loose. There we go. Popped right off. Okay. Just got to be careful with it. Now we've got to get this off, but this knob sticking up makes it a little bit harder. So we've got to see how it doesn't want to move. Depending on several different factors, will be dependent on exactly how we take it off. So let's see if I pull the bottom. It's not wanting to let go on the bottom. So let's see, we may have, yeah, we do, I think. Yep, so when it's not wanting to let go, you've got to be really careful, because usually there's something holding it. And as you can see, this right here is made to take out and remove the screw. Since I've already got the back off, I don't need to, I don't think. Yep, just loosen that. That's all it takes is loosening it. Okay, now. Pull this out, pull this out. Okay, this has to come out from under here. All right, and then we can just lift that up, and we have a single wire. So we will just carefully. Oh my gosh. Unplug it. There we go. All right. And now we've got it completely open. We're ready to start cleaning it. So I'm gonna take it and use my air hose on it. I don't have any case on it, so anything I blow is leaving the machine. That's the whole point. I recommend that y'all don't use canned air, because normally when you use canned air, you've got the frame on it and it just goes further up in the machine. And the whole point of this is to get everything out. So there's no frame on this. I can blow it out and not worry about all this crap. All right, so I'm gonna blow all this out. I'm gonna blow all this out and down underneath it where we seen it a while ago, where all that is, right? Where all this is, we're gonna get rid of all that, all right? So here we go. All right, so I got it all blew off and stuff. A couple of issues, and we're gonna go over that here in just a second. First thing is, so your gear needs to be lubricated, and usually it's just grease that's on it. With this one, this is your hook drive gear, and it's just below your hook. The problem with that is you get a lot of lint in here, and the lint will get into the grease will attract that lint, and then it just builds up and causes problems. And we're going to go over how we can fix that. But I've already pulled some of it off, but you can see there's grease and lint in there. It's kind of hard to see, I guess, but there's tons of it, and if it builds up thick enough, it'll break your gears. Okay, it'll get stuck in there and continue to build up. The lint and stuff just stays in there, and eventually it causes the other gear is steel, and it just pushes so hard on it that it busts the plastic. So we're going to go over how we can solve that. This right here, you want to get all this off. This is the piece that drops your feed dogs, and as you can see, it's not moving real well. Oh, okay, there it is. It moved. But you want to make sure that's cleaned off real good. Get all this cleaned off. There you go. There's a perfect example. You can see all the lint in there with the grease, and it's holding it. I'm going to get a rag that will better pull all this off there, just like this. This is just one of those, what you call it, automotive rags. They work really good for grabbing crap and getting them out and off the machine. And I'm just rubbing it. It's all I'm doing, trying to get as much grease and lint and stuff out of there. So all right. I want to get as much of that out of there as possible. The grease, the lint, everything. Okay. So I pretty much got that, and I'm going to take it off this over here as well, because I'm going to do the same thing over here to help keep lint off of it. Okay, so real quick, I've had a few videos where people said that my hands were in the way and they couldn't see where I was putting lubrication. So let's just go over that real quick. First and foremost, on these machines, when you open them up and you're servicing them, the most important place to get lubrication, to get oil, is in your bushings, okay? What's a bushing? A bushing is where the shaft goes through a piece of metal that has very fine tolerances, similar to a bearing, okay? You have 4 main ones. You have 2 on your bottom shaft. This is one. There's one here. And then you have 2 on your top shaft. We'll go over that as well. Those are the main places. Those aren't the only places, but those are the main places, okay? Need to get oil up in here because these are pivot points for the feed dog system, okay? And we're putting oil on this, not grease. Right here is another bushing, okay, for this shaft. And there's a bushing here and a bushing right here, okay? It's anything that is holding that shaft in place. That's all it is. These aren't near as important as the main ones, but they should be lubricated. So again, this is a main shaft, all right? This is a bushing right here, right there, where the main shaft comes through the frame. Okay, the next one. Not this, not this. This is just to help hold the shaft in place. But you see this bracket is holding it down. The shaft goes through there, so that is a bushing. So when we oil this, I'm gonna, like on this one, I'm gonna put oil right here, and I'm gonna put oil right here on either side of that bushing, not here, but in here and here, and then I'll turn it. And on this one, I'll kind of tip it backwards, and I'll put it right here next to that wire's running the dang way. I'll put it right here on the shaft next to that bushing, so it'll kind of drain back this way while I turn it. And then again down here, all right, I'll put it on this side of this bushing and on this side of this bushing, so, and I'll turn it. And then over here, you know, this again, this is to help hold the shaft and keep it from moving. So we don't want to, we don't want to put the oil here. No, we put it right here, right in between those two. And then on the very end, we'll look at it later where you can see it moving. Okay, when I have it up, I don't know that you can kind of see that. Let's see. So you can see that turning right there, right? Hopefully you can tell that it's turning. Okay, so this is a clip to hold it in place that's on the shaft. That's the bushing, and we'll put a little oil there. So, all right, that's the main place we're going to be putting oil. The other places that we will be putting oil that are pretty important is on the needle bar. This is the needle bar, okay? So right here, this is needle bar. You can see it going up and down. It has guides. It has an upper guide and it has a lower guide. Let me see if I can find some place that you can see it right there. Okay, so you can still kind of see this one. This is your upper guide. This is your lower guide. Okay, and it goes up and down through it. So basically all we'll do is we'll put a couple of drops on the shaft so that it will run down onto this guide, and then we'll turn it. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll turn that up. We'll put a couple of drops on here, and then we'll turn it. Okay, just like that. And that will get the oil inside there. These, I know I know the machine companies say don't lubricate your machines, right. All right, so that's just so that they'll get more of your money. You'll have to bring it to them when it messes up. All right, it's up to you. You want to keep your machine going good, then lubricate it. You want to follow the manufacturer's instructions and on this and just run it till it breaks. That's up to you too. It needs lubrication. I don't care what the manufacturer says. All right. So those are the main places. This is a pivot point for it moving back and forth, for the needle bar swinging, for a zigzag. Putting a little oil up here won't hurt. It's not extremely important, not near as all the rest of it, but it helps. All right. So now let's look at another issue that we had. So right down here. This hole, you notice, well, you notice that hole is empty, right? Nothing there. When I took it out, there was something here, and that something's supposed to stay there. Oh, I got a little bit of lint, I'll have to get that out. And this is a magnet. I'm gonna take it out and then I'll put it back. Be careful with it because they will break, they're brittle. There's a felt that goes in here. So they're not supposed to come out. Do not take your felt out of this. This is for lubrication purposes. I was using the air, and what goes in here is supposed to go the full length, which is at least an inch, sometimes an inch and a half, depending on the machine. But this one was, I don't know, a quarter of an inch. And because I was blowing using my air, it got up under it and just blew it out real quick. It was gone. I'm glad I discovered it because it really wasn't doing its job. It didn't go deep enough. All right, so this is one that I've had for a while. It was too big, it was too long, and it was too big around. So I cut it to the right length, and I kind of cut the side off of it to make the right size, right? And so I'm going to just put that back in there. And this should be lubricated. Okay, I'm gonna put this in there. You can't see what I'm doing, I'm sorry. I can't do it and make it possible for you to see it. So I'm twisting it as I'm going down, okay? Depending on, you can use a needle to help push it in, and I probably will here in a minute. I've gotten it about as far down as I can go. Actually, well, let's see. You can use a lot of different things to get it down there. There we go. It's in there. Okay, you can see it. It's in there. All right. Got interrupted with a customer. Sorry. Don't quite remember where we left off. Anyway, put that back in there. A new one. You can see it. It's in there. There we go. You can see the felt in there. It needs to stay there, and it needs to be oiled. A few drops. I say a few drops. Fill it up. Make sure it's nice and wet. Fill it up. Let it sink in. Fill it up. Let it sink in. So on and so forth. Especially if it doesn't have oil in it, you put a new one in. All right. Now, so I pretty much cleaned it up. Let's see. Make sure, I know we were talking about oil or grease. I was showing you where to oil it. I'm just getting some more grease off right now. Okay, there we go. We're good. Now, see, there's grease here. As long as there's not a lot of lint, like in this, I wouldn't worry about it. If it needs to be greased again, then grease it, unless there's a lot of lint in it. The main place that we're going to replace the grease is like right underneath the hook where all the lint is, all right? But grease on other gears and other areas is fine. It's just fine. Okay. So anyway, let's like that. There's plenty of grease here, and that's fine. All right. We don't have any problem with lint possibly getting there and causing an issue, as long as the machine is properly cleaned anyway. In fact, actually here it'd be hard to get to, but so the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to lubricate those gears. All right, so what are we lubricating it with? I'm using Triflow dry lubricant. All right, the reason I'm using that is because it goes on wet and it dries up to like a wax, to a waxy film. Okay, and it is made not to attract dirt and grime. That's the whole point of it, is it does not attract dirt and grime. So the lint and stuff will fall away from it as opposed to getting stuck in it, but it's still lubricating. Okay, so you're fixing to see maybe, well, my straw is plugged up. These bottles don't normally come with straws. I use straws from the regular Triflow. And to get the oil, to get the crap out of it, I just use an air compressor. So see if that, there we go. Get that. All right. So I'll put that just kind of like that, and it didn't come out. You saw it in. It blew out. Okay. That's basically, that's just wax is what it is. It's hard wax in there because this stuff dries up to a wax. And so you don't want to put this on bushings because it will get hard, just like you saw, and it'll lock your machine up. You only want to put this on gears. Okay? Only on gears. Whoop. So gears and such like that. All right. And you can see sometimes it's when you first open it, it's real liquidy, but after it's been open for a while, it starts drying up. And so you can kind of see what it looks like. This isn't completely dry yet, but it's dried way more up than what it normally is. Gives you a better idea of kind of what it does when it's completely dry. I like to make sure that I've got plenty on there. Again, it does not attract the lint and grease, so it's not going to hurt anything. This is lobe for your feed system, and I'm going to put it in there. Your feed dog system. Okay, it's metal, regardless of what it was. This happens to be metal on metal, but regardless, it needs to be lubricated, whether it's plastic on plastic, metal on plastic. Especially metal on plastic needs to be lubricated for sure. Okay, and this is a great lubricant to put on it. I just make sure that it's got plenty on there because it'll push any crud and crap out. So you can kind of see it on there. Okay. And I'm not going to get too much on it. You can't get too much on it as long as you don't get it in the wrong places. There you go. I got plenty on there. Now there's grease right here. I'm just going to kind of clean that grease up some, because there's a way more than what's needed. Okay. I just don't want lint being attracted to it. And then I will put this up in there like that. There we go. Now that is more than what's needed. But again, it's a wax, so it's not going to attract the grease. Okay, this gear I'm not going to worry about because it's far enough out of the way, but we're going to start oiling. So all right, so I'm going to see how this moves? And these are little stops. This is a stop right here, okay? So I'm gonna put a couple of drops right there, right in that crack. And you can see it moving a little bit. It'll move more like when it's plugged in because it's an electronic machine. And then right here on the other side, we're gonna put it right there. You know, if you're worried about over oiling it, don't. You're not going to over oil it. And then where this turns back and forth right here, we're going to put some oil right there. All right, I got a little bit more. I've got enough that it ran off, so I'll wipe that off now. So this disengages the feed dogs. When I turn that, you see it moves. So I'm going to open that back up, do that, and I'm going to put some oil right here on that shaft as well as back here. Move it back, turn it, and there we go. Oh, I need to put some more. What you call it on this. Okay, there we go. Now I've got it in just the right spot so that will move back and forth without me having to turn it. And that's perfect because I can put lubrication where I need it. Just like that. Now, under here is a lobe, okay? It's hard to see. There you go. You can see it. You can see the shoulder. That's a lobe. We're going to put some dry lubricant on that lobe, okay? And I'm using dry lubricant because it's so close to the area where the lint comes down. And this is going to help to protect it. All right, that is plastic and it hits metal on the top. All right, you absolutely need that lubricated. And you do not want lint getting in there because that will tear it up. Oh, you know what though? I need to put it there, okay? Because now it's hitting the metal. And I've got to put this down so I can do this. So you can see the stuff that was on it and now it's gone because it's on the metal. It's hitting the metal on the other side. And we're gonna put some more dry lubricant on it right there. Okay, so you can see the dry lubricant, and then when I turn it, it's gone, okay? Because it's rubbing on the metal. And I'm gonna just keep putting it on right now. I wanna make sure that we have plenty on this, because if this runs down, if this gets tore up, your feed dogs will not go all the way up. All right, very important that this is properly cleaned and lubricated, because the lint and stuff will absolutely tear this plastic up, which will keep the more that plastic comes off, the lower those feed dogs are going to drop. And then you've got to adjust it and push it back up, and there's only so much adjustment you can do. So very important on that. All right, if you have any questions on that, let me know. If you like what you see, if you enjoy my content, to do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone. Okay, so now, now we can go ahead and lubricate the bushings, right? So we're going to get a little bit right there, and we're going to turn it a little more. We'll make sure there's plenty. Okay, just like that. I'm going to turn it up here and put it on the end of this bushing. This helps to get the oil up between the bushing and the shaft and keep it lubricated. And the oil, not only does it lubricate it, but it helps to push the lint out, because lint will absolutely destroy those bushings. Okay? There we go. Some more here, just like that. Okay. If you've seen any of my videos with locked up machines, you've seen that's grease and stuff. It doesn't need to be there. You've seen that I've gotten a lot of crap out of some of these bushings. All right, very important to lubricate them, to keep them wet, to keep them properly operating. And you see I'm putting it on kind of thick and heavy, and it drips down as I'm doing it. Well, you can't really see it now. I'll do it again. You're not going to over oil them as long as you're using the proper oil. All right. All right. Now we will, we're going to do these others. Over here. This one here. Okay, get some oil there. Some oil here. And actually that's this isn't, I said it was a bushing right here, and it's not. It actually just locks that on the shaft. So the other bushing is right here. So I will get some oil on there. Like I say, this isn't anywhere near as important as this one, but it's good to lubricate it. This thing, if it ever dries up, it can absolutely lock your machine up, keep it from feeding, cause all kinds of problems. So it's definitely good. And if I look on the back side, you can see the back of that shaft right here. And so it goes up against that bushing. I'm just going to put a little more oil right there. That's just to help make sure that it gets into that bushing. Okay, and you can see that it moves your feed dogs back and forth, right? And you can see this moving with it. Okay, any questions, let me know. Now, we're going to go to the top and get right in there, maybe. If I can get some light on the subject, it's kind of hard to. There we go. I think we got it. Okay, put some oil there, just like that. Now actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this machine, because this is a very important bushing. This is an extremely important bushing right here. This one tends to lock up a lot. I'm going to turn this machine up at an angle. Okay. And I'm going to get some more oil on that bushing. Just like that. Okay, so now it's running into the bushing. It's running toward and into the bushing while I turn it. And it helps to make sure that it gets inside that bushing. The bushings on this end, both of them on this end, are notorious for, on all machines, for locking up. So you want to make sure, if they're not properly lubricated. Now you want to, okay. So you want to make dang sure you get lubricated good. Then we're going to do this one. Okay. So we're going right here, just like that. And we're going to turn it. Okay, and then up here on the very front of it. Okay. Now, all right, now for the needle bar. Okay, we're gonna get some on there, just like that. And I mean, you can put it there, let it run down. And then on this, in order to make for it to do this the easiest way, below here, you're just going to drop some oil right here, okay? And then turn it, because it runs down to that guide. All right, now, I only told you about I told you about the most important things that need to be lubricated. But when I'm lubricating it, you've got your take-up lever assembly, and I'm going to get that lubricated as well. Okay, so on either side of that, on this one it's plastic, most of them today it is. I'm going to get it right here because that's a joint that turns and moves. Okay. And I'm going to get it on the back of it right here. In fact, you know what? Let's look at this. If we can, if I can show it to you, I will. There we go. See that hole? Right there. That's a lubricant hole. That's made for lubricating. Okay, so I put oil all over it. I want to make sure that I get it oiled good. Okay, so there we go. It's lubricated. Oil's still there. All right, now, and then the other place is where that arm, that same arm that we just messed with, hooks to the needle bar, which is right here. See this here? Right there. It hooks right there. There's a little shaft that runs in there, so we're going to drop some oil on that. In fact, let's see if I move the zigzag, you can see it. So drop some oil on that and run the zigzag. Okay, just like that. This right here is the part of the linkage that actually moves it. All right, we're going to put a little oil there. It probably don't need it, but just to make sure. And then this is the pivot point. Right here, this is your pivot point. It probably doesn't absolutely have to have it. Well, I know it doesn't, but we'll get a little bit on there. Okay, that's just to make sure it stays lubricated well. Now we're gonna make sure this is all the way up. Then we have this mechanism here, which is your needle threader. And so you see where the metal is right there. We're going to put a little lubricant on that. And then down in here, right in here, is another piece of metal. It's that same rod that we just lubricated right there, okay? And we're just going to get some lubricant on that because it moves there. Okay, and then just to be safe, on this little piece right here that's moving, we're going to get some lubricant on that. You can see how it turns. All right, we're making sure that we get that lubricated good. Now, you can see just from what I've done, putting lubricant up top, that this is already lubricated. It's wet, it's run down there. I'm still going to add some more, okay? Because I like to be safe and make dang sure. Okay, there we go. All right. Now the other thing that I want to lubricate on this is the presser foot. And so we have an upper and lower guide on the presser foot. And it can be hard to see, hard to find. But this is your presser foot lifter. This is the presser bar, and I said presser foot. What I intended to say was the presser foot bar. Okay, I want the top of it first, which is right here. The metal down there, and when we lift it, you see it move. So this is not anywhere near as important to lubricate because this plastic is kind of self-lubricating. But It does not hurt to lubricate it. In fact, it will help to keep it smooth and keep it moving smoothly. Okay, keep it well lubricated. Now, if we need to get the bottom of it, I'd like for you to be able to see it. So, well, here's a good way of doing that. So there's a guide down the bottom, okay? Unlike the needle bar, well, actually, no, I'm wrong. Never mind. So I need to, ow! All right, so I can't show you from inside it. So here's what we're going to do. And this will work just fine. So here, not needle bar, but pressure bar. Here's your pressure bar. This is the lower guide. Okay, so I've got it laid on its back, and we're just going to put a little bit of lubricant on it and work it back and forth. Okay, there we go, just like that. Actually, you can see a little bit of the dark black stuff coming off of it. I'm gonna wipe that off. Clean it up some. Okay, there we go. Nice and lubricated. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much lubricated for the most part. The machine is oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, I forgot. And actually, I've got something else. For the most part, it's lubricated, but we forgot to do this. And so you're going to see some light down here and zoom in. We're going to fill it up. And you see the bubbles, right? And what I'm going to do, this helps. Turning it helps to move the oil through it. Okay. Now that thing was quite dry when I put it in, so it should. Normally it'll just soak it right up for this first time or two. Okay, got rid of the bubbles, and you can see it's kind of dropped. And as I turn it, you see more bubbles forming. That's that's the air coming out of that, out of the oil rag or whatever that I put in there, and it's sucking it in. And you see the oil level dropping and the bubbles coming up, and now it's pretty much gone. So we're gonna put some more on there. And there's a few, still a few bubbles coming out of it. But not near as much. So I think we got that lubricated as much as we need for now. If you've got a brother or one of a few other machines that doesn't have this, you can just put oil like right here. Just fill that up and turn it. And then after you do that a few times, just take a rag, because you don't want to leave a lot of oil in there, and just clean the outside of it up. Okay, if you leave oil there, when you turn it on and run it, it will sling oil everywhere. So So, okay, you've gotten it where it needs to be. On this machine, on the ones that have the felts in there, you don't need to put it on the outside like that unless there's a lot of lint that you can't get out. Then the lint will push that out. But normally you don't need to. All right, but just kind of clean the oil up. Leaving oil sitting on the felt is fine because it will soak in. All right. All right, make sure that you put this little piece back in here. The reason for that is if you break a needle, it's made to bring that needle right to the center, so you can easily find it. Okay, rather than falling down in the machine. Now the other thing that I want to do real quick is this right here. This is your bobbin winder. I'll put a little bit of oil on that. Just like that. Okay. Just to make sure that that gets oil down in it. And it's lubricated. Okay. So we're good there. We don't have to do this, but I'm going to. Put a little bit of oil on this dial. This is for the tension. And then this is the tension right here. And I'm going to put a little bit of oil on that, just to make sure that there's no problems with it moving. Okay, put a little oil there, just like that. Okay. All right, and we're good. Now we just put it back together, the opposite of what we put it on. And we need to remember that screw that's inside of here, all right? All right, so the front cover, and we need to plug this back in. So we'll plug this back in, just like this. Well, you gotta be careful. It's not going back in just right. And we don't want to bend those prongs, so you gotta be careful. Okay, there we go. For some reason, it's not. There we go. No, something's wrong. It is not wanting to go in. So maybe there's a bent prong already. Let's take a look. Okay, the only thing I see is that right there. Nope, that ain't nothing. That's just a reflection. So I don't see anything. It looked like it was a hole or something, maybe kind of messed up, but I don't see anything. It's just not, doesn't look bent or nothing. It's just not going in. So, when you run into something like this, you've got to be really careful that you don't break it. You break this and your machine's done. Pretty much. You might be able to replace something depending on what you break. You might not, and it can get expensive. Normally, you don't have problems like this. Okay. This thing's just not wanting to go in. Okay, it looks like it's bending like in the middle. So let's, it's not going in like it should. Let's see if we see something on here. It looks like where one of the pins is hitting it and messing it up. I can't see anything through the camera. Move the camera to the side. Obviously, you gotta make sure you're putting this in right. So number one, we wanna make sure that this is lining up here. And then on this side, these little pieces, one there and one here, are turned the proper way and they're down. It's right here and right here. So that's how I had it. I'm going to put this up there. And then I'm just going to move it around, back and forth, up and down, twist it a little bit, trying to, if one of those isn't lining up, just trying to line it up. Whoop, that's not what I want. There it went, it went in. It's just hard to get in there. Holy cow. Now, I want to make sure, I'm pretty sure, and the thing about this is, I got to put it back in there again. Because it was so hard, I wanted to make sure that nothing bent. Okay, and you can see nothing looks bent. All right, cool. So we're going to do that again. Get that in there. Move it around a little bit. You got to be careful when you're doing this. Don't get too crazy with it. Just make sure everything's lining up. Whoop. Okay. And there it is. Okay. All right, so we got that. Now we got to get this. So we're going to lift it up, get that over. Now, as you can see, it doesn't really want to go. Part of it's because of the way I've got it sitting. But we're going to run into another problem here. So I'm going to lean that back. And it kind of slipped on, okay? Oh, wow. It just slipped right on. You don't hardly ever get that. But there's still something not right. See how it's bouncing? Okay, so this isn't fitting properly. It wasn't. It is now. Okay. But check this out. Okay, we have a problem right here. That ain't gonna work. So we're gonna lift this back up, maybe. And then we're gonna lift this up. Well, there we go. Lift that up. Get that back on there. Okay, there it is. There we go. Now. So you gotta make sure you get that right, okay? All right, and then we're not bouncing here, so we're good. First thing we need to do is tighten this screw up. And I need my tools. All right, so we'll tighten this down. Make sure that this is in place. That's a thread guide. Needs to go all the way back, tighten it up, just like that. Now, we're gonna go around the back. And remembering that one right there. I'm gonna tighten that up. Again, you can pull this out, make it a little bit easier, but obviously you don't have to. It doesn't have to be real tight, but it needs to be tight. Okay, now we can start putting the rest of the machine together. Put the back on. And if your front and back are dirty, mine are not. As you can see, if the front and back are dirty, you need to clean them. Mine are not. Turn this up, get out of the way. The one thing that we need to concern ourselves with right now is right here. This has to go on there or it will give you a hard time, and get these lined up, right? Okay, so we're there. this around. All right. Now we just got to get all this lined up and put back together, making sure this is down. And it will snap and pop just like you're hearing. Let me see. I can get this over here where you can see it. And there it is. Done there. All right, so now I'm just checking to make sure that everything's properly lined up, properly closed, no issues, nothing, none of the little clips sticking out or something wrong, right? Everything looks good. And let's see. This looks good under here, just like it should be. Yep. Take-up lever is properly, okay, there we go. So we do have a problem right there. Okay, so we want to see if we don't want to see if we can fix it, we want to fix this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up. Okay, loosen that up just a little bit. Now, I'm going to put my finger over here where I just loosened that, and I'm going to pull it. See if that just fixes the problem. It doesn't. Isn't doing a good job of fixing it. We have an issue here, and I don't quite understand what the issue is, other than it's not fitting. All right. See if I can figure this out. That does not want to move. Okay, so, all right, we'll talk about it here in just a second. I'm gonna get this locked or tightened down. Okay, so over here, what you were seeing was a little piece that had to go up and over this, which helps hold it together. But right here, there was a clip and it wasn't locked and they were fighting each other. So what I had to do was kind of pull this down so that it would properly align here and then push them together, or actually push them together like this and pop that into place. Once I've done that, now it's doing just like it should, okay? If you don't understand what I'm saying, let me know. But it's just a matter of lining everything up correctly like that rather than like this. All right, now we're going to start putting some screws back, putting the screws in it. We got to put the bottom on it here in a minute. We got to repair this. So the first thing I'm going to do is replace these two screws. Move all the stuff out of the way that I don't need. This will go, well, not yet, it won't. All right, move that thread. So we need this screw and this screw. Now make sure those are the right screws. I think there's only two more plastic screws. There we are. Yeah, they're all the same. So just put them in. Tighten them up. Don't over tighten these. If you over tighten them, you'll strip them. Just get them up snug, and that's it. If you try to tighten these up real tight, they will strip out. They don't need to be real tight. They just need to be up and snug. They're plastic screws. Screws for plastic. Okay, and then this one, put it in here. Maybe. And then this one will go down here. Then we got one more over here. If you remember that, right there. Important to remember all the screws and pay attention to them as you're putting everything together. Well, that one seems like it might be a little bit short. Now, I don't specifically remember exactly which one came out of here. Very important to make sure. All right, we've got this is going to be a longer screw for sure, or it won't fit. Okay, so we want to make sure that we don't use that one someplace. All right, so that's probably this one. Now, okay, so we still have one of these screws with a small head on it. Looks like it will probably, and it's a longer screw. Right, so it looks like it probably goes right here. I could go back through the video. All right, so we got that put in there. Let me see. Yeah, we're tight. Now let's get the bottom put on. If you got any questions on that, let me know. But it was actually, let's not put it on this way. Let's turn this, put this on its back. Like that. Okay, then we'll put the bottom on it. So get all this out of the way. I was moving my screws and stuff out of the way. Oh, you know what? Before we put the bottom on, it's got a hole in it, so it doesn't matter, but this will make it a little bit easier. We need to put this on. Need to make sure that this is popped. Okay, so I'll pop that together right there. It wasn't quite popped together. All right, this is gonna go like this, like that. See this? Okay, it can't just go on there. It's gotta fit up in there, just like that. Don't get crazy and break it. When it looks level like that, then we're ready. And we will put our screw in there. There we are. That's done. Now we can put our bottom on. Okay. So put this up here. I have to lift it up a little bit and get the feet to come through. Line everything up. Just like that. Okay. And you want to check and make sure that everything's lining up here. Looks good. All right, we're going to start with these bigger screws. So I've got those 4 and this, or those 3 in this one, so we got 4. Now I don't want that coming apart, so hopefully it will not. Oh. Now the one thing you want to be careful of is not, if you've got like I've got a towel into this, I want to make sure that towel doesn't get up in the machine from the back side there. Okay, it moved on me when I went to put that in, this one in and turn. So, all right, there we go. It shouldn't come out now. I've got one kind of tight. Probably not a good idea to tighten all these up, tighten any of these up. See, this one's not going in. I'll have to tighten this a little bit until you get all of them started. The metal ones specifically, so that there's 6 of those. Make sure you don't cross through them. This one's not wanting to go in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this up on the, well, I can't get that dang thing out. There we go. I'm going to put this one in right now. Maybe. Well, I can't get none of them started. Hopefully I didn't mess that one up. I don't think I did. It doesn't look like it. Alright, so it's not wanting to go in. So we're going to take this, we're going to set it up here just like this. So we can kind of see the hole. Make sure everything's lining up right. Then we'll take one of these screws. Don't let it fall over, because see how it moves way easy. Setting it up like this. Now you need to just make sure it's straight, and there we go, got it started. Okay, so sometimes these things can be a pain. Again, don't tighten them up, because that can make it almost impossible to get the rest of them in. All right, I hope I didn't mess this one up, mess up the threads. I don't think so. I think the threads look okay. Yep, no problem. Okay, so now with the 4 in there, that is pretty straight. We're going to get these other 2 because it goes into metal. The plastic ones will go in, we'll find, as long as everything's pretty much aligned, the plastic ones will find their way. Okay, but the metal ones can easily get cross-threaded and screw up the threads on either the screw or inside the aluminum cast of the machine. So I'll go ahead and tighten those 2 from right there, and we're going to tighten these 4. In fact, I'm going to turn it over on its back. Okay, so that it doesn't drop and fall and drop, whatever. Don't want to break the machine. Okay, then the 2 plastic screws. And the screws aren't actually plastic, but they're made to go into plastic. Okay, like I said, they will, because of their threads and how wide the threads are, they will find their way without, usually without the metal ones being loose. So, okay, so we got that. Now we'll do this. We'll get this end on. Make sure it's cleaned out. It looks good. It doesn't look dirty. Put it on. All right. Put the screw in there. There it is. Make sure this is clean and that's clean. We'll put this on. Get it on there right, maybe. There we go. Screw in that. And look at that. We don't have any extra screws. Just the 2 that go in the plate. And we got to repair that plate. All right, you can use a drill or a Dremel, either one for this, and then you need a bit similar to this. Tighten it up. And turn this. We're going to repair this, just clean it up. We're going to put this in there, get it going, and then keep it moving. Okay? Actually, this one's too big. So let me get another one. There we are. There we go. Like that. Like that. Now I'll turn it over. Make sure we get this side good. Like that. I need to get that outside. And we'll use this one for that. We're going to use this one for getting the outside of it. Just makes it easier, especially with this drill. I'm going to bring that out some. Give me a little more room. Okay, right there. That just that cleans the top of it off to make sure that there's nothing to snag the fabric. Okay. There's a little bit around the edge. You can kind of see it right there. It's harder to see through the camera. There we go. Done. Cleaned all that up. There's you can see there's still you can see some damage there, and that's, let me see. Yeah. That's not going to grab the thread, okay? That damage is not going to grab the thread. The thread will go in there, but it's not going to grab the thread. All right, it's big enough that the thread can't get stuck in it, and it's cleaned up so there's no sharp edges or anything to grab a hold of it. That's what you want. Okay, you don't have to take it completely out. If you take that completely out, it just makes that little hole right there all that much larger. Which means the larger that is, means the easier it is for fabric to fall through that hole. Make sure when you're cleaning these that you clean out between these feed dog teeth, all right? Otherwise, that'll keep the teeth from coming up and properly engaging with the fabric as well, and it'll quit feeding. Oh, we have another problem though, I forgot. So I need to check and see if I've got one of these. All right, so I don't have one. So you get to see how to repair these. All right, so let's see. All right, so you can see where the needles hit it, and it's put holes in it. It comes around here, this right here, this damage will grab your thread. So we're going to take a knife, and we are going to very carefully, without cutting ourselves and without tearing this up, these pieces that are sticking up, they'll grab the thread. We're just going to shave them off, okay? We're not making any big gouges or nothing crazy. Just very carefully cleaning this up, okay? And then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna clean. This doesn't need to be done. This, what I'm doing right here, doesn't absolutely have to be done. I'm just kind of OCD about this and getting this cleaned up to the best of my ability and make it look good as well as properly operate. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm gonna look for anything else, any gouges, any marks from the needle, anything that'll grab the thread. Now we talked about that and we'll fix that here in a minute. We've talked about this, we'll fix that here in a minute. And this is kind of deep right here, okay? So I'm just gonna take this and carefully just kind of go over it like this, scrape over it. This is to make the next part of the process a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. Okay, this knocks anything large that's up there that could cause problems off, makes it a little easier, and helps to smooth everything out. But we're not done there. We're not done with that at all. Still, we'll make dang sure that there's nothing on this flat surface here that is going to grab thread. Okay. All right. So overall, that looks decent. Little damage there, right there. Okay. Gonna get some sandpaper, 500 to 800 grit works, and we're gonna sand all this out. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Once you get the most of the damage off, you can use 1000 grit or higher sandpaper just to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Smooth as a baby's butt, okay? Because anything that grabs a thread when it's going around this will cause looping. And again, if you like my content, if I'm helping you out, then do me a favor and please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody, share it with a friend, share it with somebody who may need to see this as well, may need to get their machines fixed. And I appreciate that very much. Sharing it and liking it and all that helps the algorithm, helps to show it to more people who are looking for this exact thing. Okay. All right, so all the areas with a little bit of damage, you're just sanding them out. We went over it with a knife first to knock any of the large chunks or anything off. That just makes it quicker. The sandpaper will take it off, but this just makes it quicker. Okay. And her main problem is it was looping, and all the damage to this and all the damage to the needle plate is what's was causing the looping. She wanted it serviced, lubricated and stuff. It didn't look bad, but it's good to do it before it does look bad. You know, you wanna keep it in good health and keep it going, lubricate it and clean it and lubricate it before you have a problem. You know, you don't wait until your engine blows up to change your oil on your car. And you don't wait till your machine messes up to get it serviced as well. Otherwise, it can be more costly, cause more problems. Okay? All right. Anything that looks like it can grab a piece of thread going across this, we're going to sand it out, clean it up. We're not making any big changes. We're not putting big dents or anything in here, just cleaning it up. You want to make sure you check this right here. If there is a place where the thread can get stuck on here, it will get stuck, and it'll cause major problems. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna go over this. I didn't go over that. Make sure it's nice and smooth. It's not gonna make it disappear. You're gonna be able to see it, but it needs to be nice and smooth. It doesn't look smooth. It doesn't look smooth at all, but it is. It's crazy. Looks can be deceiving. Okay. All right, there we go. It's good to go. Now we'll put it in. Now, the way this is made, the way that's turned back, this piece right here goes against it. The spring, this piece right here goes against the spring. So, drop it in there, just like that. Whoop, not like that. Okay, just like that. So, it's in there. It moves, it falls in there. That's just like it should be, right? Okay, make sure that you get this in there correctly, or the needle will hit this and it'll cause all kinds of damage and problems, all right? So now we're gonna get it threaded. As with any machine, before you thread it, you lift the presser foot because that opens your tension discs, okay? Our tension is wrong. I'm gonna set that right now. That's from me messing with it a while ago. Put it there, all right? We'll put our thread on. So we'll drop this on here. Then we're gonna put this on here. We're not gonna push it up tight. We're gonna leave it loose a little bit. And then we'll drop into here, around this back, over, down, around, back up, into the take-up lever, make sure it's all the way to the end, down, then that metal thread guide that we were threading a while ago, make sure it gets behind that. Then we've got another thread guide here. We'll do that. I really hate needle threaders. I really do, but we're gonna see if it'll work. I'm gonna make sure it's right about where it needs to be. Bring that down. I can't see if it's in the right place or not. We're gonna find out right now. All right, put that there, and it is. There we go. There it is. Okay. Now we need to get the cord and foot feed and all that and plug it in. I've got that in the other room, so I gotta go grab it. All right, so I got the cord. Plug it in. Now on this machine has this button, so you don't absolutely have to have the foot pedal to run it. It'll run on its own. But anyway, we got it plugged in. I plugged the foot in because I like to test them. We'll turn it on. Hopefully it runs. Hey, look at that. Comes on. That's always a good sign, right? Always a good sign when it comes on. So now we got threaded. We'll lift the press foot back up. Get this fabric that I had for it. And put it under there. Press your foot down, lift this up, make sure it's kind of straight, and keep it from pulling on the towel that I've got under it. And we're just gonna start by hand. Whoops, I goofed up. We need to get this thread underneath the presser foot. Okay, that thread needs to start out underneath the presser foot so that presser foot can hold it. Okay, now we're gonna just, I'm gonna turn it by hand. The reason I do this is so if there's a problem, I will feel it as I'm turning it, number one. I'll hear it, and I'll know that there's a problem before I hit the foot feed and cause just a huge problem, right? Okay, it looks good, it sounds good, it feels good. I think we're good. It could be looping, but I don't know. I'm just saying it could be looping without me knowing it. But I don't think it is. Still gonna go slow for a minute. Okay, let's check the back of the fabric. All right, so there it is. We're making a really good stitch. It's pulling up nice and tight and into the fabric. So it's not looping, it's not catching, it's not making weird noises. I think we're good. We're gonna go ahead and get on it. Well, turn that up. All right, let's turn this. Okay, we're fixing to do a zigzag on it. But before we do, we're gonna just look at this. Not having any problems at all. I mean, it's looking great. Okay, so you can see the black, well, there we go. The black is the bottom stitch. The white that you can just barely see is the top stitch. It's doing just what it should. Okay, you can see here, you can see the white and you can see a little bit of black. Just like you should be able to. That's the proper stitch. Okay, now, I don't know what the zigzag is on this machine. I gotta figure it out. So what happens if I push that? Okay. Okay, it's telling me these numbers here. Whoa, I don't have you. All right. I was pushing this button here, just like this. Okay, so what's this telling me? It's number one. We're doing 3.5 width on stitch, 2.5 on length. I'm gonna go again. We're doing 7.0 on width and 0.4 on stitch length. That's kind of odd. Let's see what that does. Oh, okay, I got it. A specialized stitch. Not just a straight, it's not just a regular zigzag, it's a specialty stitch. All right, so it's doing good, but we're going to do a regular zigzag on here. And so I'll push that, okay. That's 0, 0, just straight stitch. We've got here's a zigzag. We're going to take this all the way up. We're doing a 2.5, and here we go. Well, that's not what I want. So we put it all the way to the right hand side. I don't know which one's which, honestly, without without something to tell me what the stitches are. I may have to look it up. Excuse me. I don't know. Let's see what a 2 does. Well, that's 0. Okay, that's a 3. Okay. We'll see what this does. Okay, so this is a what you call it stitch for it's a stretch stitch. That's what that is. Turn this down. That's not really what I want. So we'll go to 4. I've got 3.5. We'll run that. Okay, that only goes to 6. So now let's see what that does. Alright, so that's not doing what I want. It's not a regular zigzag. So we will go to, you know what? Let's take this to okay, let's run this all the way up. Nope. I'm going to turn this off for a minute. Turn it back on. We're on 01. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to look this up. All right, so I looked up the manual and it looks like I was almost there. According to the manual, 6 is a regular zigzag. We're gonna put on 7, and the needle is clicked to the left or kicked to the left. Let's see what it does. Look at that. We're on 2.0 for stitch length. I'm going to go to 1.5. Okay. Here's our stitches. See all the different stitches that we did, right? We're going to check the zigzag. And so what's happening there is the bobbin thread is pulling hard on the upper thread. Part of that is because how short I've got it. I went to a 1.5. You can see, nope, you can't. Actually, no, it's not. Sometimes it is, but not this time. Why does that do that? Okay, so, man, I'm not liking the way this thing's doing that. Anyway, you can increase your upper stitch tension to help pull this. When you're doing a zigzag, if you pull it too tight, you'll cause it to crinkle up like that. Man, I don't like that. Why is that doing that? Okay, so anyway, the other thing you can do is decrease the tension on your bobbin. I don't want that. There we go. And this phone's it's a new phone I've got. It's got some features I'm unfamiliar with, and it's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, so the way you can do that, well, you can make your stitch longer and it'll be less likely to do this, or you can release the tension on the bobbin case. If you do that, you need to be really careful with it. Or increase tension on your upper stitch, but with this, like I say, you can cause it to start pulling. So if your machine does this and that don't bother you, then it'll work fine. Okay. Now we're going to do another stitch. We're going to go to 9. And this should be a specialty stitch. We're going to see how the back stitch works on this. There it is. Looks like it's working great. Okay. You can see the stitch right there. Looks good. Looks good on the back. It's still pulling like that. If it's no big deal to you, then it will be just fine. All right. This machine is done. That's it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. All right, so I figured out why this camera's doing some weird crap. It's got something called cinematic, and I've got it on it right now to see how it does, see how this video looks. So I know on my other phone that I had, when I used the camera that was facing me, a lot of times the picture was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So y'all let me know, how's this look? I think it's going to look a lot better. Anyway, with that being said, this machine is done. I'm ready to do an invoice on it, call the customer, and get my next machine out. But I have started offering consultations. Excuse me. Sorry, I've started offering consultations. So what does that mean? Well, I'm still going to be answering questions the best that I can, but sometimes, especially with timing questions. Timing is not it's not a one fits nothing, okay? Every machine, every instance of timing, all of it, it's all different. You know, two of the exact same machine can be out of time and be different issues and require different fixes. So when you say my timing's off, how do I fix that? Man, I don't know what caused it to be off. So with that being said, I've started doing consultations. All right, I've got all the information on the consultations in the link down below. It'll be the first link in the description, so you can check that out. And if you think, whether it's timing or some other issue, if you think that that'll be benefit to you, then fill the form out and it'll tell you everything I'm going to do. If I don't think that I can help you, I'm not going to do a consultation with you, but I will let you know. I'm not going to leave you hanging. We'll have a discussion about it. Anyway, so if you think consultation will help you, then fill out the form. All right, short and easy. And this machine is done. I'm going to do my invoice, call my customer, get to the next machine. And I hope y'all have a great day. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you have an awesome Christmas coming up. All right. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, if it helped you, then please like and subscribe and share it with somebody else who maybe needs to see it, needs some or all of the information that's in it. Thank you.